Coalition has unveiled a multi-billion-dollar slash and burn budget promise as Peter Dutton makes a final pitch to voters centred on tight economic management. Let's bring in today federal politics reporter Liz Daniels, who joins us in the studio. Liz, we are getting the numbers in the frantic final day. They certainly are going to be frantic, Jane. The leaders on a final lap of the map. The Prime Minister waking up in Perth. The opposition leader will start his day in Brisbane after a night at the pub for Peter Dutton. It was beers and babies in Melbourne, the seat of Kooyong, one he's hoping to reclaim from the Teals as part of what is a mammoth haul that he needs to win government. Critical to his pitch will be convincing voters of the Coalition's strict budget management, and today we finally get a look at the numbers. On the chopping block, signature government promises, including Labor's income tax cuts. The Coalition would repeal those. It would also lay off 41,000 public servants, scrap Made in Australia tax credits, and dump Labor's promise to write down student HECS debts. All up, the cuts would see a $10 billion reduction in deficit while slashing $40 billion off the nation's debt. Labor, of course, gearing up to attack those numbers this morning. The PMs met with voters in Midland.
Not the same day, eh, people? What do you reckon?
Yesterday afternoon, as both enter a mad dash to the finish line.
Mad dash.
Okay, Liz, thank you.
Shit, mad dash is happening all over the place, I can see.
Remains a top concern for
what do you reckon?
So what have the major parties promised to those looking at entering the property market, and what flow-on effects will this have on sellers? To discuss, Domain Chief of Research and Economics,
how many signs do you need to see to understand some certain things?
Nicola, good morning to you. So how big of an impact do elections actually have on the property market?
When you look at that longer-term impact, they really don't have an impact on transactional activity. It's actually political uncertainty that can have a sustained impact over time. But what we do see is this short-term impact where sellers avoid auctioning their homes on that election weekend. We tend to finally look to the last 5 federal elections, and what we find on those election weekends, we see auction volumes drop off by about 50%.
Come on!
It is deferred.
There's the communication,
man. Those auction volumes then rebound the following weekend by over 100%.
We have to communicate in other ways. When they come to those people in the energy on YouTube and stuff, innit?
To house prices, do you think?
I think that when we have got the anticipation of more rate cuts coming, historically, when you look at the performance of our housing market, it has played out well for pricing and therefore demand. So we are expecting
all we can do in this hellhole
in May because of those inflation figures that were released yesterday. And when you look at the market pricing, there is up to 4 rate cuts
probably 4 years ago. I had to worry about shit getting there. But I noticed I'm going to have a little bit of a break. Didn't I? I was worried about things about 4 years ago or something.
Wonderful, thank you, Nicola.
Remember the Trump thing at that stage?
Yes.
Shit could have went down, but it's not.
It does.
But it's even worse than that. So it's not looking good. Like, I don't see any better happening when it comes to people worries about financial things and wars and stuff like that.
Katie Gallagher and Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor in the studio. Nice to see you guys. Katie, first up, at least the Coalition is trying to save money. You guys are going to bust up our AAA rating.
Oh, well, that's not true at all, Carl, and I think this is a real costings con job from the opposition. I mean, 5 million people have voted and the costings still aren't out. We don't know what they're going to cut.
Fuck,
we don't
they're
know how
everywhere
much
these
nuclear
days,
is
picking
going to
up
cost
more and more,
in terms of how much they've allocated in the budget. But we do know that student debt's going to rise, housing's going to be cut, and income taxes are going to go up.
Sometimes it works out,
we'll
sometimes it doesn't.
today when these
but I noticed, I was pretty angry the other day
in
certain things, so I started talking about stuff.
Okay, I can already hear it. Angus doesn't need to talk lies. Is that something to sting you at all?
All these lies and shit.
No, not at all. I mean, we're out talking
let us get some
about
answers.
all
Let
the things
people
that matter in this election, and
who
I
are
think
bad
these
stop winning.
Will show
you know what I mean?
Exactly what those
like I was
cuts
talking
are
about
and exactly what those nuclear plans are, or they should.
That's pretty bad.
Anyway.
Angus, I think it's a fair point. There's a lot of figures to digest here.
And before God steps in on that kind of
stuff. Why bring the figures in so late?
And I was just talking earlier about abuse. The worst type of abuse on this planet, right, is abuse on a child. Or abuse on an animal. A worthless animal. An animal that won't hurt you. You just want to abuse it. Right? To God, that's the same abuse onto a human. Right? Abusing things for no reason. We're not always talk about that. Reason. Even when you abuse an animal, kill to eat, there's a reason. Right? Kill for a little bit of profit. You make a balance and you kill less than what you put back, or you keep the balance at the same time. You make sure responsibilities of that, so you're not taken from God's balance, right? You can, right? That's what business is. What you're meant to do, right? But people don't. They go, man, discount. Go on, next thing. Discount. Until end up nothing, and then they go, shit, what's your telly? Like playing shop games. You played that when you were younger, shops, with people with monopoly money. It's pretty sad, isn't it? But anyway, good luck out there. Try to keep high vibes. Bomb coming down on you. As long as you're not dead, I guess, and you've got loved ones. The more loved ones, the more harder it's going to be for you. I've recently been attacked a lot with my loved one numbers and worries, definitely, and you get used to it over time. And it's mingled down to not too much for me, but hopefully out there for you, so you don't have too much. When you have more, you'll be like those people on the movie trying to call everyone, worried about everything. And see, that's what happens when you have too many kids or too many pets and stuff like that. I've learned that lesson. I now like my pets. My dad told me years ago about if you have too many pets. I already knew this. I ended up getting inherited some to help out a friend and all that kind of thing. And I've also helped out some animals, rescued some animals. You got to watch things, innit? But yet, when you do certain things at certain times, things were cheaper and better and easier. But then times change, don't they? And people change, and things around you change. Collectively, people change. I call people a virus, not singly. You can't. And then viruses can be, it's a collective thing. If you're in the collective, you believe something, the leaders of North Korea and they're the main viruses. Trying to coach the viruses to go their way instead of the other way in evolution. But if you keep going the other way, you'll kill the host. You'll become that virus, that real bad one. Virus comes in many forms. Some of them actually change to the better. You actually check out viruses. They even work with us fine now. Over evolution, as the movies will tell you about it when the aliens come down and that kind of thing. Anyway, have a good one. See you later.